I bet that was the longest countdown you've ever seen. Casey Moss is here, everybody.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
You too, buddy.
You're at the Days studio. Pretty cool, right? This Days studio.
Yeah, I was actually just saying to Andrea that I like it a lot.
Different than when you were here before. It's like,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So we are so glad to see you on these all new episodes that are streaming right now.
Thank you, sir.
And we know that Days is 9 months ahead, and we know all that. But I want to take a step back. When you got the call to come back, what did they tell you what was going on, and that there was a fake Abigail, or how much did you know of what was?
They didn't tell me anything. I was actually on. I was site supervising. Funny enough, the new Monsters on Netflix.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was at a site in Woodland Hills, and I was just talking to the crew in the morning, and then I get a text from Marnie saying, "Hey, Ron wants to know if you want to come back for a few episodes." So I said, "Absolutely, yes." And then, here we are, 9 months later, I think.
Yeah. So you come back. Yeah. So you come back, and you worked with Billy before, but now you have AnnaLynne McCord.
Yeah.
So what is your thought of AnnaLynne McCord? Because remember, you've had Kate Manzi as your sister, and you've had Tracy Miller as your sister.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was. I have, I guess, differing opinions on her being my sister, but I'm actually a big fan of AnnaLynne's. True and I were just catching up on Nip Tuck. Funny enough, and that was kind of like our soap. And AnnaLynne's character, sorry, I forget her character's name, but she was like our villain, She was like our Stefano, like, oh, this girl. And then I come to set and I see her name on the door, and come to find out that she's going to play my sister. And I'm just tripping. I text True like, oh my God, this is so weird, but it's really cool to be able to work with her. Great person.
And, what we saw today is it's all being revealed. She's not Abigail. We're going to know on Monday that she's Kat, and it kind of all comes out. And JJ, I liked what JJ's kind of where he was in this. He wasn't all believing. I did not believe, right?
Okay.
He was like going with it, but he knew something was up.
Yeah. That's kind of JJ. always a tad bit skeptical. But I think I'm blanking on her name, but who I was talking to, is it from Soap Opera Digest? Stephanie. No, Janet. Thank you. You can't necessarily play like this is full-blown reality. It would be a different show. So I think what kind of just took over is having my sister again, but also being obviously a tad bit skeptical. You kind of have to add that color into the mix without it. So I guess it's not so silly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the feeling of, having my sister back and having the family together again, which is, JJ's probably most important thing, is having the family together, because it's always been kind of separated. Right. So when it's together, it's very special. So I think that kind of just was the overriding feeling.
And I think there was another part of it. He kept saying, my mother doesn't believe it. I have to believe my mom. Because remember, his mother was skeptical.
Yeah.
Mentioning that as well.
Yeah. Was I saying that I have to believe my mom? I think I was kind of like, I understand her position, but also this is kind of the way things are right now. So let's move forward in this direction. And if we come to find out something that's not so the case, then we'll take care of it then.
So now what's he going to do? Now it's all fake.
Oh, I have a few words with her. Just a few.
Just a few?
Just a few pages.
Just a few pages.
Of kind of laying into her and really telling her what I think about her. So that'll come up soon.
It's awful what she did. I mean, it's a terrible thing.
Yeah, that's really twisting the knife into the heart of not just one person, but many.
Many. So coming back into this now after being away for a while, are you approaching this differently this time at Days? So you have this great run from 2013 to 2020.
Yeah.
Which I will get into in a minute.
Yeah.
Which I was like, this guy is so amazing because you are so simple in your scenes, and it's never feels. Even when I watched the last two days of You Back, everything's very, it's there. It's simple. It's not overacty. It's just really
Thank you, man.
in that zone, which is what I've always said to you all those years ago.
Thank you.
When coming back into it now, did you approach coming into Days different than before in terms of your own self, psychologically coming back? Or
yeah, I don't think any of that was intentional. It kind of just happened given life experience over the past 5 years. Like what I was saying to Janet, when you go through trials and tribulations as a human, you can either get buried in it, in which I kind of found myself, really going through the feels with not working. I'll just go ahead and be honest. I don't think I've ever not been honest with the fans or anyone I talk to. You can either get buried from it, or you can become stronger and more accustomed to things not going your way. So I think naturally I approach JJ as if, well, because this is soap and not necessarily reality, but you go through problems and heartbreak and being betrayed, and you can also experience that in life. So I kind of brought who I am now to who JJ is, and it's kind of similar.
were you ready to? Did you want to give up on your acting career, or did you still want to do it, or did you have to think about it? Because I've had these moments in my life. We've talked about this, like, where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this. But then you find a fire or something to get you back into it. There's something that gets you back into it.
Absolutely. I don't think any actor has not experienced that. That's been in the business for at least a little while.
Yeah.
And there's let me see if I can put this right. When there's a lot of actors, and I think throughout like the history of the business, to where they present one way and then are actually a completely different way. Whether it's to my detriment or to my benefit, I just like to lay it out there. So giving up on, I think there isn't an actor, especially in today's time, with how the business is going. There's a lot of people dropping out. But I love the art and the craft. I am not necessarily a fan of the business portion of the industry, but I think the art and the craft and, the work I've done, just the past decade really kind of drives me forward into the business.
We have so many people here saying, welcome back. Glad Casey is back.
Thank you, everybody.
Welcome back. Rocking. Casey looks amazing. Still looks amazing. Casey sounds different. I think he's more grown up, maybe.
Interesting. Or is it me just talking with my throat? Oh, man.
Now, here's a question. What's it like to work with Matt Ashford and Melissa Reeves? You're the son of a legendary super couple.
Yeah, man. They're absolutely phenomenal. My Melissa Reeves has always been like a mom to me. So to have her, because I know we've kind of gone back and forth with who plays her.
Katie and Melissa.
Yeah, and I love Katie, but I didn't spend as much time with her as I did Melissa. And to have it was an interesting experience and a special one, because I've been out, in the real world trying to figure out who I am without working, and trying to find myself in that space, because it's interesting when you start this show or start any sort of job in the entertainment industry at a young age, and then you kind of grow up in it, which are, your formative years. So then when you're off and you got to figure out, and you're not, who you thought you were, or who you thought, other people thought you were, you got to really figure it out and dive in deep. But coming back and them kind of being, because they were still here when I first came back, and having them, they set like an anchor and they set roots into the ground. So to kind of go through everything I did in life, and then to come back and then to have my family again, part of me as a person, I guess maybe to protect myself, goes, this is just a job. And, it's, yes, I'm very grateful to be here, but I know what the real world is. And this is different from the real world. But also at the same time, hearing Welcome Home and seeing who my family is, at least on the set, was very special. So I think it couldn't have come at a better time.
I had so many conversations over the years with Melissa Reeves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I can absolutely tell you how much she adores you. I have had multiple conversations with her.
Yeah.
That she just thinks you're very special, and she has a very soft spot for you.
Yeah.
It's freaking, you can literally see like it plays.
She's helped me in life quite a bit.
Yeah.
Not to lay out everything out here, I'm sure I will maybe in the future, but
Okay.
You're going through problems as a young kid, in your early 20s, and you go out to Nashville and spend time with her family, and you see how a family is supposed to act. Because I wasn't lucky enough to have that in my childhood.
Right.
So to go there and to see the way she raises her kids, how she treats her family, she's remarkable.
There are a couple things I want to talk to you about, and this is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
This was the most incredible story.
Thank you.
This was in 2017, and JJ contemplates suicide after shooting Theo, and it's this whole race. There's this whole race story played into it, and everything. Looking back at now, right now we're several years removed from it.
If we did that now,
look at that,
it would have had a different reaction too.
A whole different reaction.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what you thought of that, because clearly that was them handing you the ball. I believe that that episode, I believe that won them the writing or something. I think they won, or the show. I remember them.
I think it was best. I think it was 3. And if I would have won 4, that would have been something.
Yeah.
But I think they won best show, best writing, and best
directing. And there you were at the epicenter of that, and it was a heavy story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what you're most proud of?
As far as maybe my work is concerned, yeah. What I'm most proud of as a person in life is being able to get out of that. Whether it's for a big giant production and a theatrical release, or to do on a TV show, regardless of how much attention it gets or doesn't get, I think the work comes from the exact same place. So, and I had to do that I had to live in that for a couple months.
It was yeah.
Yeah. And I'd do it again. Because I love what it takes to be able to exercise those types of feelings, but flirting with them for a long time was tough.
Tough.
Yeah. Um, I'm glad that they gave me the opportunity, and they trusted me with the opportunity.
But it was taxing, I'm sure. It had to be just emotionally, just because it was so raw, right?
Yeah, yeah, very much so. Yeah, that was heavy. That was heavy. But I think what you hope to do as an actor is to be able to influence people in a positive way, tell story from a different perspective than what probably someone's already thinking. Um, Similar to, Ryan Murphy and Monsters. I don't know. Have you seen that yet?
Yes. Yes. So what did you think? What's your thought on that?
It's weird to say I loved it, but I loved
Right.
I loved it because he showed both sides of he kind of like embodied the public opinion of I hate these kids and then wait, what happened to these kids? Um and being able to do that as an artist is the best gift that this business can offer.
Did you
Uh,
like Nicholas Chavez and Cooper Couch's performances?
Listen, these kids, and I say kids, but
Young
these these guys were absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. It's some of the best acting I've seen in a very long time. Especially I slip on their names, so apologies. But the spoiler, when he's talking to the lawyer and
Cooper. Cooper played Eric in it was the one shot,
one
right?
shot,
One shot.
phenomenal. I mean, they might say this too, but to replicate that would be very, very difficult. So whatever was happening on that set was absolute magic, allowing them to be able to do what they did. Incredible. It made me feel like I needed to get back in acting class.
Well, but we look at it, we're like, wow, I was blown away.
Remarkable.
Remarkable. I want to touch on, we lost Drake Hogeston, and you had scenes with him.
I forgot about that scene.
And I pulled this up, and I remembered the scene, Casey, and we lost Drake, and I didn't know if you had any words to say about Drake, and if he ever had spoken to you through the years, and was he there for you? Any words of wisdom he provided you?
Yeah. Wow. I haven't thought about that specific scene since now.
I know. I looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, this scene.
Yeah. No, thank you for showing me that. Drake was probably everything you aspire and hope to be as a person in the entertainment industry. Never in his head, never got to his head. Always an incredible man, respectful. And look, I'll tell you this, when I got off the show, I in a nutshell was kind of stupid with how I went about my finances, and just like every young kid, or at least the majority of the time. And I had to get a job at a restaurant in Malibu, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. But it was one in Malibu that Drake frequented during the holiday times.
Because he lives over there.
Yeah.
He lived over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was serving him one time, and it was amazing how he treated me. He did the exact same hand on the shoulder, big hug in front of his family. And then he told me a story.
Of course.
You know, I think about who I was in my younger 20s, and I've kind of, you know, gone back and forth with the whole partying and being a guy in a rock band and doing all the things that kind of come with that. But now as I've gotten older, you know, I'm still young, but you know, 30 is, at least in my head, the time to get your shit together. And hopefully it happens before then, but at least in, you know, at 30. But it seems like, you know, I didn't know him back in the day. But it seems as though he never lost who he was. Always the same guy. And I think that's one of the qualities that I admire most in a human, is the same guy, never sways in morals or emotional control or values. So yeah, it's a huge bummer. He's gonna be very, very missed. Or where my room is, I'm right next to his.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, I haven't digested it as much as a lot of people have. But he was special, and that's so rare to find.
Yeah, I said the same thing when I wrote about him after his passing, just that, and his family, like, he was just the least pretentious actor I've ever met.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the least, like, no pretense. Like, I never felt any, like, you know, he's always right there with you.
Yes. Always.
It wasn't that self-involvement that we all get in ourselves at times, and I just never felt that from him.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he's ever kind of gone through that. Or maybe he did in behind closed doors. You know, you do that type of work. It's hard to think that, you know, somebody wouldn't go through I don't know, maybe those sways, but to see someone, I guess what I'm trying to say is it didn't seem like, and again, I didn't know him back in the day, but he didn't have any growing to do. He was already grown. if that makes sense, just wise and beyond his years.
Amanda says, "Welcome back. I love JJ and would love for him to come back for good."
Yeah. Thank you, Amanda.
But there's more JJ to come.
I think so.
Yes.
I think so. You know, I'm talking to you. You know, here we are.
Here we are in the studio.
Going on 9 months.
Yeah.
You know? So there's at least a little something, and you know, getting back to the show and the story, I think you guys will like what the writers do. And you know, I know we have our new writers now, but I also got to really thank Ron. I liked how he brought JJ back in the way that he did. It kind of supported my beliefs and feelings about the character. So I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity to be able to show that.
Do you think JJ will get a new love interest?
I don't know. I think we'll see. You know, I don't think JJ is the type of guy to go single for too long.
No.
So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Speaking of that, True O'Brien and you are.
Beautiful.
Look at her.
I'm a very lucky man.
You are a lucky man, and you're still together. You're engaged, right?
There we are. Yeah.
So it's going on how many years now?
We've been together for a decade.
A decade, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about wedding plans this week. It's gone back and forth so many times with
whether to have a wedding or not have a wedding.
Not to have a wedding, but how we do the wedding. Whether it's big, whether it's small, whether you invite everyone in the family tree, or just have your closest people. We both like to lean towards smaller and more intimate, because this might tick people off, but it's not about anybody else. I want to marry her, and really, granted, I love her family and she loves mine, but this isn't about them. I love her. I want to marry her. As long as she's there, I'm happy.
I just had this conversation with another friend of mine who was getting married.
Yeah.
And he was saying the family. I said, are you guys doing it for yourselves or the family?
Yeah.
You need to make it about you.
A lot of people confuse that.
Right. And I'm like, and I'm talking, and I've never been married, but I'm literally sitting there going, this is what you need to do. And they're like, oh, you're right. It needs to be about us.
Exactly. And, I was just talking to my mom this morning before I came over here. And I don't know if I should, dive too deep into this, but, I think over the year of going back and forth, we've kind of wore our mothers down in a way to where they're like, are you guys going to get married or not? We don't care how you do it. Just get married. And I'm like, that's what I've been saying for 3 years. So I think we finally kind of settled on it, but who knows, after I'm driving home after this, I might get a call and then there's a different decision.
Or we might see that you went and eloped out of who knows?
Yes.
I can see that.
I might just take her to Vegas.
That might be it.
No, I wouldn't do that. I hate that city.
Not do that. But I wanted to know, why, you guys have stuck together. Did you know from the beginning that this was the girl for you?
Yes.
I think so too, because I would watch you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. I loved her. And I still love her, but I loved her then. I love her now. She, without getting, I guess, too much into the details, she was perfect for me and healthy for me. I was a wild man, and she's also one of the women who was attracted to a wild man. But there comes a time where that has to stop, and she was also for that too, as was I. So I could not be more grateful to be with her. She makes me better. She makes me a better actor. She's so freaking talented as an actress. And I can talk about her for 1,000 hours, but then I can, also just say that I'm beyond grateful for her. She's incredible.
Is she watching you back on days? Are you guys watching the episodes?
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Let's just say they killed her off. They killed Paige. They murdered Paige.
I don't know. I think they should, bring back her twin sister.
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see. She's so talented. And I think she's a hell of a lot better than I am. So to watch her work all the time, is just something like I love her as my partner. I love to watch her as an artist. I just, I gotta always remind myself that I'm so grateful.
Well, we've got people, just like I said, Casey is wise and funny at the same time.
So wise and stupid.
Why? Casey hasn't aged a bit.
Yeah.
You aged a bit. He doesn't look like it.
I got a theory, and it's if you completely abuse your body for 10 years, your body goes into like hyper rejuvenation.
Interesting concept. Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, Chloe says JJ stays the same. So good looking.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you guys.
So nobody thinks you look any different than you did.
Thank you.
5 years ago.
I appreciate that. I don't know.
Wait, Casey Moss all grown up.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Casey has a gorgeous smile. They just keep coming in here.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. A lot of work done.
Showbiz. So what would you like? Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was gonna say something stupid.
What would you love to play now for JJ? Like, what kind of story would you love to do if you're not doing it yet?
I think I'm doing it.
Oh, okay.
I can't
Say
give you any insight.
Yep.
What I would say is, granted, this is none of my business, and as an actor, on any show, depending on how more valuable you become, I guess, to the writing and directing team on like a different production. If you're involved in the writing, if you're involved in how you want things to go, as an actor, you're just a vessel. I will support the story as in whatever kind of story you want to tell. That's my job. But what I will say is that with everything happening right now at the second, there's a couple of things that I'd like to see happen, but to simplify it, I just like them to go a little bit further with the story. Not as far as like a timeline or more episodes or anything like that, but I would like to dive deeper into what I'm actually doing right now.
Now, he was a cop.
Yeah.
Can he get his copdom back and go back?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm saying.
I think it's probably in the blood. For who JJ is, and like thinking about what my mom does, I guess, and I think my dad too, an investigative journalist. I kind of come from the same mindset, but just have a little bit more oomph and young man machismo put into it. When it comes to wanting to protect and serve, whether that be in a profession or whether that be in a relationship. So I think that's, you guys are going to have to, I hate saying this, but you guys are going to have to watch and tune in.
Is there a nemesis? Is there a nemesis? Is there like somebody, will he have a, yeah, he will.
I think there's a few. I think whoever doesn't agree with JJ is his nemesis. Because I'm right.
Because you're right. Casey, you're so down to earth and so happy to have you back. Hope to have them keep you.
Thank you. Yeah, I love being here, and I got to remind myself that things like this and things this special don't always happen, and can happen very rarely. So it's seize the day, seize the opportunity. I love being here. It couldn't have been, a warmer welcome. It's been a beautiful experience ever since I, step back onto the stage. And it's weird. It's like you smell the same smells again, and you see the same faces. And, funny enough, they put me back in my old dressing room. So it's like things never changed. But as a person, I have to remind myself that this could be potentially fleeting. It could be around for a long time. So wrestling with that has been a bit of a challenge. but I just got to remind myself that I'm here now. I love doing what I do every day. And I couldn't ask for anything more than that.
Well, it's so, you say that. I remember watching your last taping of your last day.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the office at Days, and you were filming, and it was the last scene before you had left.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to everybody, I looked at them and I went, how can they let him go? How
Mm-hmm.
can they let him go? But the point is, here we are years later.
Thank you.
And there is another opportunity, and you just never know, right? You just never kind of know.
You never know. And yeah, I remember that last day quite well.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, I was just, I had to go out and grow up, and I had a lot of learning ahead of me. I still do. I don't think if you had any learning left, you wouldn't be here, type of thing. So constantly learning and evolving, but I had to go out and go through some tough moments to be able to find out who I actually am. So best thing that ever happened to me. But I remember, Albert gave me the floor, and he let me talk to the crew and talk to the whole cast that was there, and that was tough getting through, man. I was freaking crying out of being very grateful to have still, or to have, I guess, been there that long and integrate into, the roots of the show. But to be back and to be able to build upon that, again, like, to my work life, to my fiance, to how everything's going in life. I don't want to, sound like that guy that's, oh, my life is so great, but it is.
Well, Mysterio, hold on. Glad to have you back. You left such a mark on JJ in terms of you're the only adult that has and can play him. There hasn't been another JJ since they didn't recast him.
No. And yeah, I'm super grateful for that. Look, as I appreciate them saying that. But it's the business, and they do what's best for the business. I'm glad that they've believed in me to be able to do that character. But you are always replaceable. I'm not trying to sound grim, or
It's true in this industry, they can replace you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and they do it all the time. You know, it's just the nature of it. But to be here still playing JJ, and to still be able to experience and have different moments with, Missy and Matt. And I love Matt, man. I have parents on this show that I love as people. And to that, Janet, being the head here now. I've seen this set, less than other people, but more than others, for the past decade. And this set is so healthy. People that are here want to be here and want to do their best work. This is the healthiest set I've seen. Everyone loves each other. Because just like any other work environment, you got people that aren't necessarily fond of each other.
Right.
And I've seen that throughout the years.
Right.
But the type of environment that she's created on this set is just magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Billy Flynn, tell me just quickly about working again with Billy.
Terrible.
Terrible.
I love Billy, man. I remember when he first joined the show.
Yeah.
I got called over to Marnie's office to just so they can get us side by side because they thought that maybe we would look too much alike. Which I guess people would say that maybe we do, but I don't think so. But I've watched that guy's work grow for over a decade, and you got to listen, and he always keeps you on your toes. Like what I said from Janet from Soap Opera Digest is that he sets an anchor in the scene, and you kind of gotta be with the anchor, or else things kind of get thrown off. But if you wanna do good work and you're prepared, that kind of anchor prevents you from going off, in a completely different direction. He's a very powerful guy. And I don't think he's maybe shared his personal life. But him and I have shared a lot of things with each other, and he has his ability to grow in life has, I think, has elevated his work even more. And that's special.
So we're going to say as we wrap that, we'll see more JJ.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk again when more is revealed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great to see you. So great to see you. And it was really wonderful to see. I'm like watching the episodes and I'm like, oh, this is great. So I hope we see more. Give my love to True.
I will. And before we wrap, how is everything with you? How's your music going?
My music. So my new song came out September 20th, Best New Me. Everybody go listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora. The music video we're just finishing. That should be out, which has some soap people in it.
Okay.
But it's been, just like you were saying, Casey, it is really hard, right? Because like you're saying, I love the making of the music, the recording of the music, the writing of the music, the going in the studio and cutting the vocal, like all of that.
Yeah.
Then it comes down to the music business, and I think it's the worst.
Yeah, it is.
I think it really is the worst, which is why I left it 30 years ago, because I thought the industry was so,
Yeah, but with the way things going are today, you don't necessarily have to be a part of the industry to do it.
Right. So it's great that you can do your own thing and put your music out there.
Absolutely.
So that's what, it tries to keep, just like your acting. That's kind of my life, which keeps me going. My music keeps me going, and to be able to sing and write and do that. So we'll see.
Are you still, cutting things and recording?
Still cutting, recording.
Good.
Which is good. You have to keep doing that.
Yep.
And just trying to get this new release really publicized and for people to hear it. So
nice.
So yeah. So thank you for asking.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You got a good voice, dude. You got to keep doing it.
Thank you. All right, Casey. Have a great day. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, Casey. Have a good one, and watch him on Days of Our Lives on Peacock.
Woohoo! Thank you, bud.